Alles klar.
In 2015, this happened.
Cheers.
What's unique about the Olaf boost is that unlike every other famous Counter-Strike esports play, the Olaf boost isn't really a show of skill. It's a show of how busted this map was at the time. Not to take away from Fnatic here, this is a legendary clip and it will never cease to be cool. The point is, this clip is
Why is it so loud? The fuck?
defined by the map that it takes place on, and a clip that plays a very specific role in the development of its layout. But let's go back even further and take a look at how Overpass evolved from its first release to today. Because, let me tell you, the original version of this map sucked. This video is brought to you by Skins Monkey, a site where you can easily and safely trade your skins.
Really?
With Skins Monkey, you can instantly swap out your old skins and get something new. You can use code
Really?
Penguin on the site to get 2 new things. First off, you can Overpass was released alongside Cobblestone in the winter of 2013. These two maps were the first Valve-made maps to be released since the release of the game, other than Mirage. But Overpass was not just a Valve-made remake of a previously existing map. It had the unique quality of being built from the ground up by Valve, and you could really tell, for better or, who am I kidding, mostly for worse. This map took a lot of risks, and not a lot of them panned out. The key defining feature about Overpass is its size. This map is by far the largest professionally played map ever. Its other main feature is its verticality.
What the hell? I've never seen that Overpass. Do you fuck with Overpass? Yes or no, chat? I do like it. It's not my favorite map. It's good. No. I see more no's than yeses.
A half of this map is elevated significantly above the B half. The
map is in Germany, which makes it already, you know, plus points.
Connectors between the two, all featuring distinct staircases. Overpass has changed a ton since its release. I'm not going to go through every single one of these changes, but rather explain the major differences in the original version and what we have today. The general theme is that the old Overpass was far more committal than today's version of the map. What I mean by this is that once you picked a route, you're kind of stuck there for the remainder of the round unless you circle back through spawn. The connectors that we're familiar with today are simply not present. Alongside bathrooms is sealed off, and connector does not let out to where we're used to. Instead, it feeds towards graffiti.
Oh, hell no! That fucks with my brain.
The B site is also far more open. Construction is directly connected to site, and site itself no longer has anywhere near as much cover. There's also this cool raised secondary peak that you can take into the site. The B site as it was at this point felt completely unintuitive to peek. There were just too many unorthodox angles to go through, unlike a more standard map like Dust 2 where the game almost guides you into the proper way to peek site. The A site almost suffered from the opposite issue, with long and bathrooms both funneling into this one route. Of course, there were other problems, but in terms of a fundamental layout problem that isn't just a bug, this was the main problem with the A site. They tried to remedy this with the implementation of this hut here, but that didn't end up working, and they eventually made site how it is today. There was a very weird point in the history of Overpass where this weird connector from graffiti to A site existed at the same time as half of the connector that we know now. Just a thin wall between them. Extremely strange to look.
It's crazy how it was back in the day. Kind of like a plug and play. They keep changing it until, I don't know, the community likes it and stuff. Or until it's perfect for competitive play. They've released Anubis, and we haven't had any crazy changes yet, right? And it's probably most likely going to stay almost the same. Vertigo they released in the map pool. They've changed some things, yeah, dropping down from middle and stuff. And the sandbox to B. But nowadays they know their shit.
Back on now, as the current version of connector seems just so obviously superior. Hindsight is 2020 though, of course. This old version of Overpass is completely alien to what we know now. One thing that I do want to say about it is that if nothing else, it was inventive. It took risks, and honestly, some of them were not that crazy. I've said before that I actually think re-implementing this upper peak on Monster would be an interesting change to revitalize today's Overpass. I'm not arguing that it should 100% happen. I just think that this idea was not a totally bad one, and in the modern environment of the map, it might actually be pretty cool, and loosen up the B site a bit for attackers. At the time, it sucked because there were like 12 other places that you could peek B from, but nowadays, Overpass is arguably the most CT-sided map in the current professional pool.
Yeah.
Statistically, at the major events since the release of CS2, CTs have won 56% of rounds on Overpass. This is a greater percentage than any other map in the professional pool.
Look at Vertigo, bro. Vertigo always does it different, which makes it so nice. The highest T-side map. How cool is that? Against the grain. That's how we do it.
The problem with a lot of these changes that I see as otherwise inventive
55% T-sided.
Is that they tried too much at once. It's like a pie recipe. If you substitute 1 or 2 ingredients, it probably will still be pretty good, and at least you'll know what ruined your pie if it turns out bad. If you substitute half of the ingredients, then it probably will taste like shit, and the worst part is, you'll never know what the problem was. It's the issue with experimenting too much at once. Up until March of 2023, I believed that Overpass was going to be the next map removed from the professional map pool, just since its popularity had waned and it was the second oldest in the pool. Then, Valve dropped the first batch of trailers for CS2, displaying in full clarity a beautiful, new, revamped Overpass. When this trailer came out, I had a number of questions. Namely, how will they address the waning interest in the map? What will they change? And now, we can definitively say Valve's answer was nothing. At least nothing beyond surface level visual changes. This new Overpass is beautiful, but it still has these same issues that Overpass has had for its entire existence. The unfortunate thing is, that issue is tied into
F? Shut up. That was a Twitch F, I think.
its unique identity.
Not
as
on my
a
side.
map. Overpass is too big. The problem with this is that you can't really do much about it. What do? Shrink the map by 15%? Of course not. The obvious answer is to move the spawns up, but you come to an issue when considering CT spawns, seeing as it's literally directly on top of the A site already. So if you don't cut out the spawns, where do you cut? Maybe make this section shorter? Well, that favors the team.
It's still so crazy to me how little Valve pays to get the rights for a map, you know what I mean? Do you remember? There was one map where they fucked up and we could look via the API how much they paid for, I think it was Anubis. Anubis leaked amount Valve. Let me see if I can find it. I can't remember the amount. Here. Sorry, it was Tuscan. Bruder. API leak suggests Valve bought Tuscan for 150k, which was, by the way, Oscar. Our fucking guy, the guy who does our servers, the fucking skin inspect servers, he was the one who fucking saw it. And he told me, like, he sent it to me and I said, yo, can I leak that? And then we fucking, I showed it on stream. And then this post came afterwards from Mr. X the Paw. Oscar fucking saw that shit. That's insane, no? Tuscan and Anubis, 150k. Bruder. For that they own, I think, like, the name and the fucking rights and everything, you know what I mean? 150k, that's it. Think about how few maps they do that with, you know? There's so many map creators, so many maps that would fit for a map pool. And then if you make it, after years and years of creating maps, 150k. The fuck? But I think they also receive other payments. If the map is in the map pool, I think they also get some juice on the side. That was just for the rights and everything.
You could cut 15% from the middle.
I don't know where the big amount of money lays, though. If the amount of time in the map pool is more or less
map, but that would make a lot of new extremely awkward angles. In a lot of my older videos, I explained an important duality of map layouts in Counter-Strike: experimental maps and 3-lane maps. Overpass is really weird because it kind of straddles that divide. I usually categorize it as experimental though, due to its large size and the verticality at play on the map. The plight of most experimental layouts is that while they have the potential to be really good, nuke namely, they can also reach a ceiling of balance where you—
Are you seriously saying that 150k is a lot for a map? Brother, people that get a skin in a case, whether it's a blue. I couldn't even name every blue from the fucking random case, Dreams and Nightmare case. This fucking guy, for example. Okay, I could name all of them. But the Poltergeist Scar fucking creator, for example, we know some of the numbers. When it's a very, very, very popular case, it's gonna end up to around 400k. For each and every skin in the fucking case. This 400k, Anubis 150k. Think about it.
You can't really
Bruh.
improve them after.
But I don't know how much more recent cases are making. Like, we're talking, I think that number that got thrown out there was one of the most popular cases yet. And it was 400k per scan.
a while without fundamentally changing the identity of the map, what makes the map experimental in the first place. An example of a map that I think has reached its balance ceiling quite early is Vertigo. Overpass feels like it has approached that ceiling as well, but the problem here is that Overpass is mediocre enough that nobody is really calling for its head the way they are with Vertigo. The map has always been good, but not great. And this isn't to say that you can't love Overpass. There was a time when I really loved Overpass, but just because you love playing on a map doesn't mean that you can't acknowledge its flaws. Overpass has flaws, and its flaws are borderline unfixable. A sign of this is how frequently a new broken exploit is discovered on the map. Counter-Strike doesn't exactly fit perfectly when applied to this massive ecosystem of a map. But does that mean that Overpass needs to go? This might be a surprise based on the last few minutes of this video, but honestly, I say no. I think that right now, Overpass's weirdness almost brings a level of normalization to the game and to the professional scene. I had a realization while I was making this video. When I rolled my game back to CSGO to get footage, my first reaction was how much better CSGO feels than CS2 does currently. I haven't said anything about this on social media at all, but I've been pretty nihilistic towards the current state of CS2 recently. I was walking around on the...
What's a nihilist again? What does that mean? I've heard it before. Nihilistic. Meaning. Believe that all values are baseless and that nothing can be known or communicated. What?
A site of the first release of Overpass, and I just kind of had an off thought about how this version of the map was from a time before almost everything that I associate with Counter-Strike today. It felt a bit weird. And then I realized that the stage of development that CSGO was in at that point is exactly the stage that CS2 is in right now. In fact, we're earlier on in CS2 than they were in Go. So much will happen to the game in the next 10 years. It'll barely be recognizable.
Why are we throwing those numbers around? Oh my... 10 years, bro. But we took away something that was somewhat not perfect. Like CSGO had its flaws, but you can't take it away for something that's going to be ready in 10 years. You know what I mean? I don't know. Other game releases are fine. It's not like you say, when Valorant released, oh yeah, but in 10 years the game may be alright. Nine, it's fucking popular now as it is. I don't know.
CS2 will be as good or better than CSGO in time. I'm sure of it. Let's just enjoy it as it is now and watch it evolve into something amazing. There will be people in 10 years looking back on this first version of CS2 thinking the same things I thought when I was walking around that old version of Overpass. It's almost ironic. I think there's some beauty to be found there. Thank you.
No problem.
Alright, what's up? This is the bonus penguin. I think this one's
These are my favorite parts.
gonna be shorter because I kind of fit a lot of kind of my post-video thoughts into that outro segment. I threw away the original outro and instead kind of almost winged that one on the spot. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one, and happy holidays, of course. I think this one should be released around Christmas. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Shouldn't be too far away. Bye.
Says that every time. And then we go on a 1 month break. Oh, yeah. Hey, good video though. I enjoyed that. As always, penguin videos, very fucking nice, bro.